Oh, that's going to be fire.
The Dave Dameshek Football Program. Available on iTunes and at davedameshek.nfl.com. Now here's your host, Dave Dameshek.
Oh, it is going to be fire here in Studio 66. Your post-9 reaction, your pre-week 10 predictions upcoming here. You just heard.
I'm trying to hit him with the Cole Beasley. When we going to be on air?
Where is our video image here? Ike Taylor is a performance artist here, and he needs the instantaneous feedback of himself on the monitor there. Here comes Eddie Spaghetti. Hey, Ike, we have a lot to talk about. We have Maurice Jones-Drew and the Wolfe, Colleen Wolfe, both still upcoming for our weekly Q&A. We look forward to catching up with them.
Right.
Jags riding high. That'll be one of the stories. Jalen Ramsey throwing fisticuffs or not. I want to get your opinion on all that. First, though, Eddie Spaghetti just walked in here. What do you make, Ike, of Spaghetti putting on in the middle of the day, just sitting in his cubicle? He puts cologne on.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. It seems weird.
Yeah, the man won't smell good. I damn near go to bath. I bathe in cologne. I hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Yeah, but you wash. But you work out at work and then continue working without a shower.
That's a lie.
You do wash yourself?
Don't we have a shower here?
That's true. So you use that?
Yeah,
I think that's gross. Who wants to use it? Because it's gross.
We all use it. See, if you come work out with us, you'll be able to use it, but you don't, so I get it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's I wouldn't want to use a shower that all my colleagues are using.
Why? Just get you some slides. You know what slides is?
Yeah,
right?
I know, slippers.
Yeah, you get some slides, shower slides, and you all the way good.
Yeah, I guess that could work. I don't know. What are you talking about? I'm not going to work out at work. Certainly, that's not going to happen. To the matter at hand, though, so you have no business with. Don't think that's creepy that Eddie Spaghetti just sits there in the middle of the day like, hey, I'm gonna spritz myself a little bit here for the ladies. Boom, boom.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. Seems vain.
You know, females do it all the time.
All right, Ike. Now weigh in on any number of big issues emerging from a wonky Week 9 in a wonky NFL season as far as I'm concerned. It's very hard to read. I don't know who the best teams are in the NFC, who really is going to go to the Super Bowl. The Eagles seem to stand head and shoulders above everybody else. Let's see what we can get to here. First of all, Jalen Ramsey gets put in a headlock by A.J. Green, who's always considered to be mild-mannered.
Correct.
First of all,
correct.
React to that. You squared off with 18 a number of times in matchups, never fisticuffs. A.J. Green, mild-mannered. Again, were you surprised, first of all, by A.J. Green? Would you ever expect something like that from him?
Frustration.
What was going on there?
You know, Ramsey was doing this thing. Like, I think A.J. was 1 for 6. Was 1 for 6. So he already knew what time it was when he was going to face Jalen Ramsey. It was going to be a grudge match. Like, understandably, you don't like me, I don't like you. All right, we can be cool off the field, but on the field, we don't like each other. So you got a guy who's a dominant and one of the guys at a young age who's at the top of their position is Jalen Ramsey. You got a guy who's in their prime who's highly underrated. We don't talk about A.J. Green enough.
I agree, really, but A.J. Green should complain, not should complain more, but of course, he's not that kind of guy. A lot of diva wide receivers, though, would bellyache a lot.
He's putting up the numbers without being a diva. That's letting you know how good A.J. Green is.
I agree, but other guys in that position, as talented as A.J. Green, might flap their gums and say, can I get a real QB here already?
He's putting up numbers with divas who's been a diva at the wide receiver position, and he's not being a diva at the wide receiver position. That's, you know what? Since we talking about this, Shek.
Go ahead.
How many receivers would have did that to Jalen Ramsey?
I don't know. I'm fascinated by it because what do you think Jalen Ramsey? Your sense of the situation
is frustrated. AJ Green.
You know Jalen Ramsey. Have you kibitzed with him since this happened?
Yeah.
And he said I didn't say anything untowards to him.
No, it ain't the saying part. It's the dominating part throughout.
That's what
the game.
It was.
Like AJ was frustrated, and of course, if you go against a good corner like I want to show y'all I'm better than this corner. Like, that's how receivers feel. And if I'm a corner, I'm like, man, I'm about to lock the puppy up, man. This dude ain't even that good. Like, that's how you feel when you get on the field. So at the same time, just to see Jalen, caught Jalen off guard for one, you can just tell, like, AJ was just super frustrated. Then to let his hands fly, that's the part I loved about it. And what I mean by letting your hands fly, just to get the swinging. Like, you know, the boxers talking about let your hands fly all the time. Like, AJ was just letting his hands fly. But at the same time, I just watched it like, this ain't AJ. Something he usually doesn't do. So he's very frustrated. And then when you watch the tape, see, you just watching the incident. Y'all ain't watching the game. When you watch the game, I would be frustrated too. Like, Jalen Ramsey was handling his business, so I get it.
You're no stranger to fighting. You've detailed for us here that on the first day of practice for Antonio Brown, you tangled with him. You know?
No, that wasn't the first day. That was in training camp. That was on family day.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was on family day. Coach T and Kevin and you know, I was in my prime, and I see a young pup and AB. You know, he trying to get his rocks off too. Like, we went at each other every day for like 5 years. Every day for like 5 years. So of course, in training camp, man, tempers are high. A lot of testosterone. You get tired of watching each other. You get tired of being around each other. I get it. So it happens. You just trying to establish who you are, and AB was trying to establish who he was. So, I mean, after that, though, we shook hands, everything cool. Like, man, him cool to this day. That ain't got nothing to do with it.
I don't know. I can't speak for everybody.
Right.
All I can tell you is, like, I've never been in a fight in my life. You know? I doubt at this point.
It's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling to be in a fight.
I promise you.
I'd be so scared. You know what? I wouldn't like it at all. I would just be I'm surprised. So you've been in how many fights in your life? Like 4 or 5? 6?
Keep going.
You once fought Akeem Nicks in the preseason?
Keep going. Bro,
you've told us that story too. I'm fascinated.
You seen that story. You didn't see the story? Yeah, I ain't got to tell you. You seen the story.
I know. He didn't do anything to you, though.
I mean, I told him it was my fault because, honestly, he didn't do nothing. He just looked at me a certain way, and I kind of relapsed like I was back in New Orleans. You know, in New Orleans, eye contact will get your natural beef. Like, if I don't know you and you don't know me and we look at each other, we fighting on sight. Just point blank period, we fighting on sight.
I'm starting to really get the sense. I've said this before. I think you and I had very different childhoods, you know?
Man, my wife and my son will tell you, and my homeboys, they'll tell you, like, his screws are very, very short. Like, when I go off the deep end, Shek, it's all the way. Mind you, I got like 12 homeboys, and I might be the third smallest.
Really?
Homeboy. Yeah,
I've met a couple of them. Yeah, big fellas.
Yeah, all my homeboys are big, 6'3", 6'4", 260, 300. Like, them boys, like, and they'll tell you, like,
I got to get some friends like that.
When it's time to pop off, he the one that's going to be popping off. Him right there.
You have said this before, and it may be politically incorrect, but either way, you say to win in pro football or in football at any level, you need some dogs.
Got to.
The Jags seem to have remembered that this is important, and this is something that Tom Coughlin
you took the words
had up in New York as well. For all the talk about the Tom Coughlin time is 5 minutes earlier than the meeting time and all
that's
that,
cool.
He keeps, he schedules everything, but he likes a guy that has, as you just called it, the screw a little short.
Hey.
Ready to jump, ready to throw hands.
Give me some short-wired, down for whatever, black dark alley, bar fight kind of guys. Give me that all day. He started with the biggest one, with Sasquatch and Calais Campbell. That's the first one. Then you go Telvin, the linebacker. Then on the back end, you go Jalen. So now you got 3 dogs at 3 different positions. Everybody got to fall in line. If you're on the defensive line, you got to fall in line with Calais. If you're a linebacker, you got – and we ain't even talk about who can't run over there as a second-year guy and Miles Jack. He was looking for all that action. So when you got dogs at the linebacker position, they want it. Telvin wanted, Miles wanted. Then you got Jalen who's in the secondary position. He wanted. You need that because it's going to be a point in time where the kitchen going to get hot. and there's no water around when the game is on the line, and them boys, them dogs are running to the fire. That's what you want. Because when you have the goody two-shoe boys, they want everything to go their way. They got to play 100% healthy. They trying to see what social media is talking about them if they had a bad game. So you need your jokers. Like, it's cool to have your Batmans. You might have a few Batmans. But on defense, you would rather have 11 jokers than 17 Batmans on defense. Point blank, period.
Fascinating. It really is. All right, so there's that story, and that was just one of a number of fights in the NFL. So A.J. Green, so Jalen Ramsey didn't say anything because A.J. Green continued after they were broken up as they're trying to get him off the field. He keeps coming back for him.
He was talking to him during his play. His play was talking for him. Like, you just got to give Jalen his props, man. Jalen had a good game.
I want to know what he said to him to set him off like that.
I don't have to set you off.
Do you think you could make me mad like that with words?
No. With words?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm number one. You know,
could hurt my feelings.
I go for the gut.
What do you?
Yeah, I go for
the gut. You go for my literal gut.
No. When it comes down for words, oh yeah, I try to. Yeah.
What would you go after with me? I'm just curious. Like, you'd go for my weak spots.
No, I wouldn't throw it out. I wouldn't throw that out though.
You're gonna save it for when you need it.
No, just know I got it in the holster.
So if it comes to it, which I mean, shame the devil if it ever
it's going to come out so easy, you can be like, dang, I really shouldn't have said nothing.
Do you think I might cry?
I want you to cry.
Okay. There's a decent chance.
I would cry.
Now, next question for you is Ben Roethlisberger. Mark Caboli, our mutual pal back there in Pittsburgh, who where is he working now? Now I can't think. Oh, The Athletic. He just he moved over to The Athletic recently, and he floated something that he referred to as a hot take, but he's not the first guy I've heard say this. He said 2018, who could be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Kirk Cousins. What if do you think so? I mean, of course, Roethlisberger would have to step aside. He would actually have to retire. What are the chances? Give me your end date. You know what's going on in that building. Is Roethlisberger, in fact, going to hang it up at the end of this year?
Nah.
Even if they win the Super Bowl?
If they win, he might.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would say that. If they win, he might. If they don't win, I see him coming back another year. But if they win it this year, oh, yeah.
I have another idea for you here. I think we talked about this before. Tell me if I'm right. I think in the second half of this season, I don't know if it's week 10, but Martavis Bryant is going to take off. Do you agree with that prediction?
I've been saying this for the longest. Like, we remembered Marte 2 years ago from the postseason. Like, he dominated the Cincinnati game. He dominated the Denver Bronco game. Like, he dominated. But that was my last two fond memories of Marte.
A while ago now.
Yeah.
In football terms.
So, and again, I'm going to go back to how Reggie Wayne said, there's nothing wrong with being a second receiver. Because, during the playoffs, everybody going to try to shut down AB. Like, AB is going to be in the game plan. You shine in the postseason leads into what? The offseason, the offseason leads into the buzz leads into the who should I pay? Who I pay leads into Martavis Bryant. Why? Because the last couple of memories I had was he balled out in the playoffs. Like, we already knew we was getting with Antonio Brown throughout the whole season, but when it came down to the come down, like how my homeboy said back at home, when it come down to the come down, Martavis stepped up. We got to pay this man. Like, that's what Martavis have to get as a number 2 receiver. There's nothing wrong with being a number 2 receiver, especially when you got a running back. So look at Tate's situation, and this is why I be mad at Tate. You have a running back, which is hard to do. You have a quarterback, which is hard to have. You have a number 1 receiver. So you can eat for the next 8 years. Let's say 5. 5 for sure. Mm-hmm. Even if y'all do something with that quarterback position with Ben and you bring in another quarterback, you still have a solid offensive line. You probably go draft you a few more offensive linemen depending on what the offensive line do. You still have another young stud in Juju. You know what I'm saying? Tay is a young guy. AB is still young. Le'Veon is still young. And you got James Conner right behind him. Why would I want to go anywhere else where I would be the man
Somebody said that to me about you. I'm trying to think of who it was. I think it was Bucky Brooks, as a matter of fact, said a couple of years to me. He said, you know what, Ike, you know how I knew he was smart before I ever met him was because he decided to stay with the Steelers for what probably was a little bit less money. But he understood that situation was ideal for him. And players too often make the mistake of the greener pastures somewhere else. And Ike didn't chase that, and that was the sound move. He might have gotten lost in the wrong offensive scheme.
I would have got paid to a sad team. So I would have became a cap casualty because obviously I wouldn't have been good enough, or I'm not doing what they expected, or a new head coach would have wanted his guys in, his draft class in. Probably wouldn't have made it to the playoffs all these times. Probably would have been on a very bad defense. So I understood, but I just got the business part of it. And that's what players have to start. They have to start to look at the business side of this football. Yeah, it's a game you love, and it pays well if you're good enough for a long time, but you got to start putting yourself in the GM seat, in the coach's seat, because that's what I did. That's why I played so long. Like, you don't play 12 years by not catching interceptions. You play 12 years by understanding the business side of football, and I understood that at an early age.
I agree with you. And Martavis Bryant is sort of to football players what the Cincinnati Bengals are to NFL teams, which is that you're getting over your skis there a little bit, fella. You haven't done anything yet. Do it now. Bengals love to talk trash about how good you haven't done anything. You don't even win playoff games. Right. Martavis, be a star, and then you can start belly aching. You haven't even done anything yet.
You ain't even got, man. Reggie played 14 years, man. Dallas Clark came in. Dallas Clark. Then it was Marvin. He was a third receiver. Then after the third receiver, he still had Pierre Garçon. Pierre Garçon was a third receiver. Reggie Wayne was the second receiver. You still had Marvin Harrison. Then after Dallas Clark leave, you still got Marvin Harrison. Then this Reggie Wayne still at the number 2 receiver. Still got Colleen and Pierre Garçon. Pierre Garçon leave. You still got Reggie Wayne. Marvin Harrison, he on this way out. Finally, Marvin Harrison leave, and Reggie probably get 3, maybe 4 years of being a number 1 receiver. Now, all this time now, everybody is looking at Marvin Harrison. Of course, he's in the Hall of Fame, and during the playoff time, we game planning for Marvin Harrison. It's going to be a lot of one-on-ones with Reggie Wayne. So then when you look at the playoff book when it comes down to the wide receivers, Jerry Rice, number 1 with receiving yards. Reggie Wayne, number 2? What receiving yards in the playoffs? Like, Wayne got it.
By the way, a lesser name, but John Taylor of those great 49ers teams in the late 80s. He made a big name for himself. He's an icon for all of time in San Francisco because of his big playoff performances. So let's wrap it up there. I can't wait to find out what Ike's going to – my devilish side of me can't – well, someday I'm going to find out what Ike will say to me.
I ain't going to give it to you. I'm not going to give it to you.
You're going to feel bad when I'm weeping. See?
I'm not going to care.
Shek, you're someone's daddy. Get it together, man. No?
I really don't care.
All right, let's get into the Q&A with the Wolfe and Maurice Jones-Drew.
Dave, da-da-da-da-da-don't, Dave.
And like magic, out goes 24, and filling his seat as we await the arrival of the Wolfe, Colleen Wolfe. Look who it is, everybody. Longtime Jacksonville Jaguar, Oakland Raider for a year, UCLA Bruin Hall of Famer, and the radio voice of the Los Angeles Rams, as well as part of Players Only. You show up on Good Morning Football, the weekend edition now. You're on Power Rankings. You do it all. It's Maurice Jones-Drew. What's the poop, fella?
I'm hanging out, Shek. Thank you.
What a pleasure to see you once again. Hey, I want to bring up something that Ike mentioned just a little bit ago here. He thinks that we were talking about all the fights on Sunday in the NFL. And
disrespect. There's people getting disrespected out there.
Yeah, a lot of people talking trash out there. And I think that's Ike's read on it. In fact, he talked to Jalen Ramsey, and it was, he got under his skin. But Ike says it wasn't as much the trash talking so much as it was just dominating A.J. Green. He got frustrated. But either way, Ike is a great trash talker. He claims that he could make me cry. Do you think that's true?
No question.
No question. He could make me weep?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen it before.
Could you make me weep?
I'm not one of those guys.
Could you break me down, though, if you had to? Get in my head, get me off my game?
Oh, if we're playing, no, that's easy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's easy to do. But I'm just saying, like, I have certain boundaries. Certain guys don't have boundaries, so I don't, because I just know how I am. Like, I'm glad this came up because my mother calls me Sunday after the game, and she's like, "Did you see that Jags game?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I saw it." She was like, "I'm so glad that you're not a Jaguar player." She was like, "Because you would have just been in there trying to throw everybody around." And I was like, "You're exactly right. I'm glad I retired too." Because it's just some things like
I thought she was saying that she didn't want you to be associated with
no
with people behaving in that
no
manner.
She understands that I hold myself to a high standard, and one of those standards are if my teammates are in trouble, I'm running out to protect them.
So you've been in a fight in your life?
A couple. Yeah.
You've been in a couple fights.
Oh, yeah,
Ike has too. He said he's been in a couple fights in his life. I've never been in.
And that's how I know you'd cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've never been in a fight, but that's
hurt you.
But no, I got to say, for the record, when people talk stuff to me and it starts getting testosterone-y and people start getting in, I mean, I've been in those situations many
times.
times.
A joke to loosen it up.
I don't try to make a joke. The entire situation makes me laugh, and I can't, and so I do that.
No, well,
I'm sure a part of it is nervousness about what's to happen here, but legitimately, my chief emotion is this is ridiculous, and it makes me laugh out loud.
No, so I remember one of my biggest ones. I got into it with a player, and he kind of went the violent route, like, "Oh, I do this to you in the off season," and I'm like, well, what's the purpose of waiting all the way till then when we don't have to do it now, but we can wait until after the game and do whatever you want. Like I'm not going to talk because I do talk trash, but I'm talking about your game more than I'm talking about you personally.
Like what did you say that would be mean, that would hurt somebody's feeling?
We were playing Minnesota. I just got done holding out, and we were playing Minnesota. And they drafted their safety, who's really good,
Harrison Smith.
Yeah, they drafted him. But I had already knew he was bad. He was like, to me, he was a bad player at that time because I saw him at Notre Dame, and he's a white safety. So I was just like, oh, he's bad. And so every time I played him, I was just dominating him. And I was like, dude, I looked over to their coach. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is what you're putting out here? And it wasn't, and I know it kind of sounded bad. He was a white. When you have, and I think David Carr said it best, like when you have certain DBs or certain pigment, they have to be really good, which he's shown to be a really good player in this league. But we played him his first NFL game. I just dominated him. And their guys were jumping on my back, like trying to push, like, don't talk to him like that. I'm like, it's not my fault that he's out here giving up all this.
I love the idea of this because that would make me upset if I were Harrison Smith.
Right,
I'd be like, why are you talking to the coach? You're going to get me in trouble, man.
And that's what I do. Like, I play those games where I'll say something to, like, we were playing the Niners in London, and Eric Reed, he was coming, and he would close his eyes the very last second. I'm like, I looked at Dante Whitner like we're walking, and I look at Whitner, and I'm like, yo, please tell him, talking to Eric Reed, to not close his eyes because the next time I'll put my knee in the side of his head because he keeps doing that. But it hurts you more when you're telling someone to talk to him because it belittles him a little bit.
Oh, that really is emasculating.
It gets underneath your skin a little bit, so it's fun.
I like your psychological games. Michael Robinson told us a great one a few years ago. His move was to compliment the guys and say, man, how come the coaches aren't using you more? You're so good. You should be out here a lot more and get in their head and distract and create strife in the locker room.
That doesn't do it. No, that
doesn't work?
That's a long play. I don't need the long-term play. I need the short-term right now.
You want him doubting himself for a split second.
Well, no, I just want you to be so mad at me that you may see me, like, running in the flat, and you may try to jump on me and push me, and then we get a pass over the top, or you try to, like really try to blow me up, and I spin off and I score. So I was all about, like, a personal attacking your abilities. Mm-hmm. Now, there's some guys at this game that personally attack you as the person.
Well, Ike says nothing's off limits.
And
you can go into their home life.
Yeah, that's a no-no to me. Because I take that. I take that serious. Yeah. I take that serious. So I try not to. If you ever follow me on any social media, I rarely put stuff of my family because it's private. That's my kids we may do like a kids thing and stuff like that. But I've heard guys talk about wives and girlfriends and things like that, and that really gets under people's skin. It's one of those ones where you can get a guy. It can go two ways. Either he can play really well.
What do you say? Like, hey, your girlfriend, I know her. I've met her. If you know what I'm saying.
No. I remember we were playing a team. It was on Monday night, and we were barking off his girlfriend's number to him.
Is that true?
Yeah, it was. Well, I had heard about this a long time ago, but we knew the girl, because everybody goes out in the off season. She lived in a certain city that we all partied in and had a good time in, and we would see him with her. But we hadn't met her before, knew her. But like a lot of guys on our team, we'd all knew her before he had met her, and she was living with him at that time. And we were barking off her cell phone, and it was just like, blah, 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 blah. Is that it? And he was, I swear, like, in cartoons, they start to steam, like, you could see, like, red. This is a black guy now. He's turning red. He's, like, steaming. And I'm sitting there like, oh, this is getting ugly. And needless to say, it backfired on us. He had a good game, but it was funny.
It's too bad then that the celebration rules prevent you from using having props and stuff, because that would be a great 21st century bit is as you're lining up across from the guy to FaceTime his girlfriend. Hey, look whose number I have. Look who's on the line.
That would I mean, there's a lot of things.
Good luck, honey.
There's a lot of things people do though, and it's so funny. These guys, like they know what they're getting themselves into. You gotta either have thick skin or don't care. But some of these guys, they really care. And so Ike is one of those guys, even though we've never trash talked because I'm not on the island like that. Like, I've gotten into it with Harrison.
Who?
Me.
Who do you mean? Not Harrison Smith.
No. For the Steelers.
James Harrison.
James Harrison, yes. We were in 2007. I think he was going to, because he won.
He's scary. I wouldn't want to mess with that guy.
Well, I ran a pass route. It was. I don't know if it was in the playoff game or it was in the first game in 2000. I think it was the first game too. I ran a pass route and I caught the ball, but he was like all over my back. Like, I'm like, dude, like, bro, you can't cover me. Get off my back.
You guys have similar physiques and everything.
And I was like, get off my back. You can't cover me. Like, stop. You're holding me. And he was like, shut up. Woo, woo, woo. And then immediately, once you tell me to shut up, it's like calling me stupid. I just lose it. And then so I just turn around and we're nose to nose, and like I grab him. I know he's strong, so I have to grab him first before he grabs me, so I can at least get some leverage. And he grabs me, and I can tell he's super strong. So we're like holding each other after the play, and I'm like, dude, like, let me go. He's like, let me go, and I'm like, get out the way. And then I jog off to the sideline, and then after that, we were cool.
Oh, it's just the best. We got to get everybody out there mic'd up so we can hear what's happening.
Oh, no, because there's some things, like people will lose endorsements to some things they say.
Listen, it'll be more fun for us.
But then you have guys like Von Miller who just have a good time. You can't even be mad at Von. He's so happy. He smiles all the time. Like, he's just out there playing like a kid.
You need what you need out there, I guess.
Yeah,
as you say, it's live out there.
It is. They ain't playing.
All right, now talk about this thing. And Bert Breer, a pal of ours over at MMBQ, tweeted something the other day that caught my eye, and I thought it seemed a little silly, frankly. He said that he tweeted after the Giants' humiliation to your Rams. He said, I think we can trace the Giants' issues to letting Odell Beckham do whatever he wants.
That has something to do with this.
I don't know. I mean, I disagree with it, but I thought maybe you would say, yeah, you know what? Because when you talk about the Jags, okay, so let's conflate it then.
I was on the Jags team. We were losing with I would prefer a guy like Odell Beckham who at least shows he cares and wants to win.
I agree with that.
These
But
yesterday didn't – the questions that Ben McAdoo got were amazing. Did your team quit?
The Shek report this week covers his halftime rallying speech to the team.
Right. So what I'm saying is, like, if you had – I remember we played this exact same team the same time last year, the Giants. Same team. Obviously without Odell, but it was the same offensive line, Eli Manning. It was a close game. Landon Collins had a pick six that made it – we were up 10 – when I say we, the Rams were up 10-0, a pick six. And it was going back and forth. And Eli did what Eli always does. Threw the ball up in the air. Now, he did that multiple times here this weekend, and they weren't coming down with it. But that last year, guess who caught the ball when he threw it up in the air? Odell Beckham. And it changed the game just like that. And then literally changed their season just like that. And so it's funny that we don't talk about the good things with Odell Beckham. We talk about the bad things.
Well, I think they're the good things – including the one-handed catch that he made. You may have heard about that a few years ago. That then overwhelmed every other deed in pro football that year. It was that one catch was the thing that resonated with people who don't care about football, people around the big blue marble suddenly fixated on, who is that guy catching a ball with one hand in that manner? And I think then the serious football men say, stop with all that. So what? So he made that one-handed catch. The issues. I think that this is a reaction by curmudgeon saying, don't get caught up in the circus catches.
I get caught up in his numbers and what he's done there, and how this team has looked completely different. We had a talk yesterday with Heath. Heath Evans said I wouldn't pay that guy anything. I said, well, Heath, you know what? Who would you pay then? Because I know who you're going to say. I'd pay Tom Brady. We all would pay Tom Brady. But how about everybody else on that team? Who would you pay else on that Patriots team? I don't know. How about Tom Brady when he goes off on his OCs all the time and they get in these screaming matches and they're going back and forth and they're barking? We call that passion. We don't call that Tom Brady trying to get away with what he wants to.
Yeah,
we call
that's
that
a good
passion.
point. It's good double standard.
Right?
Yeah, good
like, it's
call on
unbelievable.
that.
This guy does the same thing. He challenges everyone. He doesn't. Yes, he challenges Eli because Eli needs to be challenged.
Phil Rivers is largely a media darling because of all the histrionics out there, all the gesticulating and pointing at teammates and this and that.
We've seen Philip Rivers. I've seen everyone do it. People get upset. Some people wear their passion and their feelings on their sleeves. Others can hold them in.
Well, there were two alphas on that offense, but Eli is not that. So,
No.
So maybe Odell's filling the vacuum there. But what about the fact that if you don't buy what Bert Breer says, that Odell being allowed to be a little too loose with his behavior, outside, week to week, although the boat trip, which I'm not. I'm
Let me say this. I'm going to say.
I don't care about the boat trip.
I'm going to say this. We work here at NFL Media. There's a lot of people who work here that aren't talent, and I follow them on Instagram and Facebook, and I've seen people on their off day. May it be a Thursday. May it be a Saturday where they have to work on a Sunday. May it be a Monday. I don't know. I've seen people take a day trip to Vegas and back. What does that have to do? It's your off day. You do what you want on your off day.
I agree.
But what's the issue?
Now, marry that up, though, with what Doug Marrone did with Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, the breakout star of a good story in Jacksonville, he sits him down for team violations. And it works, by the way, too.
That's the key.
Yeah,
it worked. Because when you do that, you're running a chance. See, in Jacksonville, I get what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to create a culture of, everyone's held accountable. But that only works when you win. That's what people don't understand. Tom Coughlin said it best in that Redskins-Giants game when Josh Norman and Odell were going at it back and forth. Or was it Carolina? Which one was it? Was Carolina? Yeah, it was Carolina. I'm sorry. And at the end of the game, they were like, why didn't you bench him? And Tom Coughlin said it best. He said, well, listen, if we don't have him out there, our chances of winning go down drastically. And that's what this game is all about, is about winning and finding a way to win the game. I will handle everything else off later on, but we had to try to win this game. That was the purpose of us playing it, to try to win. And so in that situation where the Jags bench Leonard Fournette, if you lose that game,
does Doug Marrone lose the locker room?
Immediately.
If they lose that game because they don't have a ground game on Sunday.
Immediately. Immediately you lose the locker room because at the end of the day, everyone there's to win. That's why fines are in place. So you can fine guys, not to sit them down. This ain't college. This isn't high school. You find a guy, you talk to him, you either let him know or what I would have done if instead of making him inactive, I would have started Chris Ivory. Okay, and you're going to sit here fully padded up, and then we'll see what happens as the game goes on.
Ooh, yeah, that would have been at least he has a fail-safe.
Yeah, but to make him inactive, if you guys lose that game, what are we going to talk about all week if that happens? You try to make a point, and it didn't work. And so in those situations, you can't do that. Hey, Colleen, how are you?
And that might – legitimately, that decision to bench Leonard Fournette – could have cost them the division. Now, in a weird way, I feel like it might galvanize them, and
So he took a risk, and the reward, either way you see it, was it worth it? And so when they win, yes, it's worth it, right? So now everyone's like, well, look, you bench Leonard Fournette, we still win. Okay, that's cool, but now we know no one's above the team. I get that. I get that whole part of it. But again, this game is all about winning, and if you want to win, hey, Eddie.
Eddie Spaghetti has to find excuses to parade himself in front of our cameras. I'm a star, baby.
If you win,
I'm from the Big Apple. Doesn't get any bigger or better. You're welcome.
It works out. If you lose, the whole season's over with, and that's what they were playing with. And in that situation, you're so close. Why mess with that?
I thought it was loco when I saw it, and I
Everybody
thought this
did.
is a game that they should win, and now it's in jeopardy because they're sitting down their best offensive player. Hey, let's say hello to her now. She's riding high with her Philadelphia Eagles.
How
You
about
watch
it?
her on Good Morning Football,
Hey.
the weekend edition, as well as whatever the Sunday morning show is called. What's it called?
Yep.
Good Morning First. First football.
Good
Good morning,
morning
football.
Oh.
first.
No.
No, which show? Saturday or
The
Sunday?
Sunday one, sis.
It's game day morning.
Well, see, now I don't feel – it's called Game Day Morning?
Yes, it's the same.
Oh,
it's
that's
all one big happy game day morning family.
That's right. I had forgotten about
You're,
that.
you're, and guess what? Your face is on a poster. That is, I think I'm the only one.
Wait,
here
what?
that doesn't have my picture on a poster.
Are you kidding me?
Oh.
I promise you.
The only
No
one.
way.
Shek, I see you right there by the bathroom.
Oh, you mean in our hallways here? At the
And-
end
Oh,
of
I'm
the-
not.
Poster.
I'm not on any of those.
But you're on a poster though, and on
What poster?
the game day morning poster.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys are big time. I'm still trying to get there. Just burning calories, trying to get there.
How was the week, the Wolf?
It was good. It was great. How about the Eagles? That's crazy. And the Rams. So I can't always watch the games on my way back. I fly back during the games. And so a lot of times it's just the internet is the only thing that can keep me connected to what's
the
happening. But when the internet's out, I have no idea. So I get on the flight on Sunday. All signs point to yes, we have the internet, great. Doesn't work until like the last hour of the flight. And all of a sudden, it's like just a barrage of information. And I'm like, are you kidding me? 50 points by them? And what happened? And Leonard Fournette didn't even play? It's honestly almost too much for my heart to handle.
By the way, update for all pilots of commercial airlines. You can no longer, in the 21st century, you can't do the bit. It used to be charming 20 years ago when you would say, for those interested, I wanted to let you know that the Sacramento Kings are ahead of the
Right.
Lakers right now by 5 with 3, and the plane would react. Now you can't do that. We have DVRs, man. Don't spoil the
Yeah.
game for me. I'm running home. Now you just ruined it.
Also, I feel like it's weird that pilots still wear those uniforms. Like
Ooh, that's a good
What
we're
else are they supposed
still
to wear though?
why do they have to wear that? Why do they have to wear the caps and the whole thing? Like, it seems kind of silly.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a fake military get
Right?
that they have
It's
on. You're right.
weird.
They're like fake Air
But
Force
they actually,
guys.
most of them are Air Force guys.
Well, they are.
Guys.
But and are you really in a position to be evaluating other people's
What, you
fashion?
don't like the
Wolf, when you have-
zippers?
why are there zippers on your shoulders? What
I don't know.
What do you unzip?
Why not?
What happens if
I don't know,
Is
my
it a pocket?
shoulder-
Is
let's
it a
see.
pocket or no?
Oh, yeah, it does actually.
Whoa! Look at that!
Hey!
Ooh la la! Wow! When the sun goes down, the
Uh-oh.
shoulders come out.
Oh my goodness.
Watch out.
I love
It's
that.
hot in here, huh?
Ooh, you turned it up.
Woo, indeed.
Anyway.
Hey, the Wolf, before we jump into our weekly Q&A, or as a matter of fact, let's jump into our weekly Q&A right now, shall we?
It's time for the Q&A.
We're still
Here
doing
we
this?
go.
What do you say? It's gonna be a great day. It is time for the Q&A. I think that's
We
very
did it.
charming.
It was a really nice collab.
That was fun. That was a fun day.
I was there.
Maurice saw fit to not humiliate himself for all of time and
That was
lay
smart.
out.
Really
Yeah,
smart.
yeah.
Here's the first question, the Wolf. Ike says that he can make me cry if he has to, if if we ever got into it, kind of thing. I mean, listen, what a tough guy. He could beat me up. He's a pro football player,
Right.
but he's not threatening me with that. He's just saying that if he needed to get in my head, he could do so. You know. Do you first of all do you think Ike Taylor, based on what you know about him and what you know about me, could he make me weep
I think
with
so.
mean words?
I think so. Ike's pretty good
I was going
about
to say,
that
you
stuff.
know,
Yeah.
Shek has never been into a physical altercation in his life.
Ever?
No,
Really?
it's not my way. Closest I ever came was with Wayne Gretzky.
No.
Yeah, it's true.
What happened?
Well, I've told this story before, but I'll share it with you again now. Emma VP says, I've heard this story too many times, right, Emma VP?
I've never heard it.
Yeah, me either.
I don't know if I know this one.
Oh, all right.
Ooh.
Jimmy Kimmel Live, early days of the show. I'm a writer on there, and I'm sitting there up in Kimmel's office with him before the show, and we're going through some of the interviews he has coming up, and Wayne Gretzky's on the show, and I said, listen, you must, and he's a Gretzky fan, Kimmel is, and I say, you must ask him, why the ongoing disrespect for my main man, 66, Mario Lemieux? Anytime it ever comes up, Lemieux always quick to tip his hat to 99, but the other way around, it's always these passive-aggressive little shots, I felt at the time. So I say, please, bring this up to Gretzky when he's sitting down next to you on the show. Sure enough, Kimmel does. He says, one of our writers wants to know what he's like, well, listen, wants to know who you think the best player of all time is. He said, oh, there's so many great ones. Gordie Howe, Bobby Orr. Oh, I could go on and on. Kimmel says, well, one of our writers thinks it's Mario Lemieux. And he said, oh, well, Mario was great too. So that's the interview, and then they go on. Afterwards, Gretzky comes into the green room. Now, he's got his publicist with him. Now, you may know, or I don't know if you are aware of the enforcer thing, the tough guy. In hockey, back in the day, not as much anymore, but the pretty boys always had an enforcer with them, so in case somebody wanted to mess with them, now you have to deal with my friend over here. Bodyguard, basically.
Right.
Dave Semenko was the longtime bodyguard of Wayne Gretzky. So Gretzky makes his way into the green room, and now he's got his publicist with him. So he comes through and grabs his stuff, and he's making his way right back out the door. And I say, hey, Wayne, hey, I was the guy who Kimmel brought up just a minute ago there about Lemieux. And he said, oh, yeah. And I said, why didn't you mention Mario? Why didn't you mention Orr and Gordie Howe? Why didn't you mention Mario? So I mentioned him. We talked about him. I said he was a great player. I said, no, but Kimmel had to bring him up to you. Why is this? Now the publicist sense that there's some heat going. And I see her grab Gretzky by the elbow and say, like, come on. So they walk about 20 feet away from me. And now I'm not going to take it because the conversation's not over, I'm afraid.
Oh, my God, Shek.
So I say to Wayno as he goes, I say, hey, Wayno, Semenko's not here tonight. And Gretzky turns around and gives me a look like it's going to go down. Now, first of all, I've never thrown, and as it happens, neither has Wayne Gretzky.
Well, he's probably thrown before.
No. Gretzky's never thrown hands. He goes, oh, take care of this for me, Semenko.
Oh, no.
Marty McSorley, where are you? Save me.
To pull the Jim Everett. The Chris Everett. You tried it.
Listen,
You wanted to be famous. I love it. Keep going.
I'm not trying to be famous. I'm trying to
crack your
defend the
knuckles?
honor of 66 Lemieux, the greatest player in the sports history. So yeah.
Is that why this is Studio 66?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
You know that?
I'm putting things together.
You see
Look
the
at that.
66 Lemieux on the wall there?
Yeah.
Yes. There
hey.
you go, the Wolf.
Welcome to the show, Colleen. All right, continue.
Big Ron Hextall fan over there.
Hey.
But what goes through my head is, if Gretzky does come over to me and the alleged greatest player of all time beats me up, all right, that's a great, noble cause to take a beating in the name of Lemieux.
It's a lose-lose for him. It's a win-win for you.
Yeah.
Now, what if I turn his lights out? Now they erect monuments of me in the city of Pittsburgh. Now there are statues populating the three rivers.
So what happened?
Dameshek.
So what happened?
In the in-action pose,
Oh my
knocking
God.
out the great one.
You think about this constantly.
So what happened?
His publicist got him out of there, and the executive producer of the Kimmel Show, Shrifty, came and armbarred me, and he said, "What the hell are you doing? You can't get into arguments and fights with our guests here." I said, "Listen,
Oh, my
Shrifty,
God.
you like the New York Rangers, I like the Pittsburgh Penguins. You have to understand."
That's ridiculous.
That was the closest altercation you got?
That's it.
Really?
I get those all the time. That's like a
In high
that's
school,
a
we'd
once
be
a
like,
week.
meet me in the basin at 3:30.
Really? That's what you
Yeah.
used to do? I went to-
Really? Have you been in a fight, the Wolf?
I never actually threw.
You've never thrown hands.
But I was the representative for the group.
Who, if Emma VP and Colleen Wolfe got into an argument, who would cry first? Who could make whom cry?
Oh, it
I
would
don't
be
know.
me. It would be me. I'm emotional.
But Colleen's from Philly, though. Emma, where are you from?
I'm from Philly, too.
Yeah.
But I would cry
What,
pretty easily.
what part of Philly, though?
South Jersey, actually.
That ain't Philly.
You're right.
And I'm kind of outside of Philly. Actually, Mike Garafolo is the only person that's truly from Philly.
Nope.
Here.
Will Smith.
He
is from Philly.
West Philadelphia.
West Philadelphia.
I'll
say
I'm
this.
fascinated by,
I'll tell
by
you
the crying bit and what somebody. I would like to know what somebody comes after with me to get to inflict emotional wounds.
I'll tell you the last close altercation I got into. Probably.
You got a bald spot, Shek.
No, no.
Ike goes there.
No, he's going right to the family. So I have my kids, and I don't even. I'm used to traveling by myself, right? So I don't think when you have kids, it's just all world, your world is just them. So we're trying to get in line. I got these babies, and I have all these bags, and my youngest one's a little wild, a little rougher around the edges, And we get on Southwest, and he starts kicking his feet. So he's kicking the chair.
Oh, no.
In front of me, and no one's sitting there at first. And so I'm talking to my wife who's across, and we're trying to get our stuff situated. 'Cause I got both my boys there, and I guess a lady sits down as I don't even see it. She sits down, and so he's still kicking the seat. And I like tap, like, stop, man, stop. Keeps kicking it. And then so she turns around and starts yelling at him. So my natural instinct is like, hey, like, first of all, you're an adult. This is a 6-year-old child. Like, you talk to me and you ask me nicely. Like you have manners. And then maybe I'll tell him to stop. Well, then her little guy friend who's in the middle seat turns his head around. And I immediately snapped to him quickly, like, you don't want none of this. I was like, today is not the day, because I was like, we will not be able to fly this plane if you say one word to me right now. I'm already in the zone.
The best thing, and I've said this before about Maurice in situation, whether it's a funny situation or a confrontational one, Maurice's tone of voice never changes. Like, hey, now, you don't want any of this now. Like, that would scare me. Like, yelling at me, I'd be like, settle down. But if you use that, like, hey, turn around, you don't want any of this, I'd be like, okay.
Someone very measured.
Listen,
yeah.
I snapped on him so quick. I think he was turning around just to see what was going on. But literally, he tapped her like, let's just focus. We only got a 45-minute flight.
Oh,
I was like, thank you, because today was the day. I was willing to let it all go right then and there. They were going to fire me because I was going to beat the brakes off this guy over my 6-year-old son. And he had nothing to do with it.
In a way,
and it was his
lovely.
fault, too. It was probably my 6-year-old son's fault.
Yeah.
For the most part. But it was okay. That was the day I was okay. I was okay with it.
Once on a flight right after Christmas, the day after Christmas, we land after flying from Pittsburgh all the way back to L.A., as the holidays are winding down, long flights. People are a little on edge,
Yes.
The good times are past
Right.
them. Now it's back to reality. So we land, and we're sitting waiting to get to the jetway thing, or whatever you call that thing that you walk across. And so now everybody's super anxious. It's a 5-hour flight, and now we're stuck there for 20 minutes or half an hour waiting to deplane. And the din of that sound of the plane is wound down now and everything. So it's fairly quiet, and I'm holding my 1-year-old girl. And she's kind of flailing as little kids do, and she kind of stoinks the shoulder of the woman in front of us, who has this fiery red hair. She wheels around and says, "Don't touch me." And I said, "What happened?" And she said, "Don't let that baby touch me."
No.
And I said, "Oh, well, I owe you an apology, madam. I can't tell you how sorry. Listen, Baby Oprah, apologize to this woman immediately. This is an embarrassment for our entire family. How dare you touch the shoulder of this woman?" Now the plane is quiet, and I am loudly talking. And over the course of the next 5 to 10 minutes, I just keep, I won't stop about this. This a woman,
Right.
and I say, please, what can I do to make this up to you? I mean, I'm embarrassed on behalf of my entire family.
Oh no.
Next time, I promise I will. I'll keep her in a cage down under with all the other animals.
Sure.
Speaking of
Which,
please say hello to the 101 Dalmatians when you see them.
Oh, they're Cruella. I love
Giving
it.
her a little Cruella one. Now
Yep.
people are laughing. They're having a.
Oh,
they're,
no.
They're
so you're
choosing
full
sides.
on Shek right now.
Yes.
Shek
Well,
is
and people, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't embarrass this woman, except other people on the plane were saying in between, like, for what it's worth, I thought your little girl was an angel on the entire.
That's what I
Oh,
hate.
my
That.
God.
That spurs me to keep going now, because now I realize everyone sees her as a villain. I say to her things like, "Please, let me make this up to you. Let me pay for your next horrendous dye job. Please,
You're not saying that. You said that?
I said that to her.
Oh my God.
Shek is great with words. Like I try to use mine, but like I'm so, because it's just crazy how people act. So
Yeah.
What kind of behavior is that from somebody?
I have a story
It's
just like
weird.
that. So we're going. So the first year I go to the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, and we're flying from California. I got my mom, grandma, wife, kids, and we they give you first class tickets for your immediate family. So we're sitting up there, and I have my 4-year-old son, my 3-year-old daughter, and then my youngest son is like a newborn, baby, whatever it may be. And so the lady, I'm sitting next to this lady, and then I have my 2 kids here, and then my wife is behind us with my son holding the thing, and she gets up irate. Oh my goodness, I don't do kids.
What?
I'm
Don't worry, you don't have to.
Yeah, I was like,
No
what
one
are
wants
I
your
was
help.
Like, I'm sitting there like, what are you talking about, right? I don't even get it. And then my wife immediately starts barking because she got it. She was like, well, I do dogs. She was like, well, you need to take your dog, beep, to the back of the plane. So they start getting into it. So I have to take the baby because they're nose to nose in this little Hawaiian.
Oh my God.
And the lady's not even, she's trying to apologize. My wife is just on full mom mode now. Like, you're talking about my kids. They're the greatest kids ever.
Yeah.
And she's just diving at this lady to the point where the lady literally apologized to everybody. Like, I am so sorry. I did not mean to make it was the greatest. Like,
Good.
I was like, yeah, you should, like, how do people, when you get on a plane, how do you expect someone, you should already know when you see a baby, like,
Nope. You should not see loved ones for the next 5 years. You
really
had a
weird.
child, so
Right.
you don't get to travel.
I mean, and
It's
I
crazy.
actually feel like whenever the babies are crying, I want to cry too. Like, I'm a little jealous that the babies are the ones that can scream and get upset when, like, there's turbulence, and I can't. It's not acceptable for me to act that way. So I'm a little jealous that the babies are able to do that.
I get so upset that people are inconsiderate, right? Like, look, even if you don't have kids, you were a child at one point. You did that, right? Like, you cried. Like I remember, and it's hard for me because it was like a lady. She was by herself, and I know, a black guy, beard, looking a little rough, coming to work here. Her baby's crying. I was like, look, ma'am, like, I don't want to be. I'm not trying to scare you or bother you, but I can help you. I have 3 kids of my own. Like, I'll hold, little Johnny.
That's so nice.
While you're getting your stuff together. She was like, she was a little police. Yeah, she was ready to scream police, but she was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm just like putting my stuff. I'm like, all right, so I'm holding them and I'm like joking with the little baby and and I'm doing a little boing, like bing bong, things like that. And she was like, you're great with baby. I was like, I got a couple. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm a professional. And I gave it back, and then the baby the whole time was like reaching for me, and then people were like, I'm like, but that small little thing that I did there,
Yeah.
you can do that for everybody and be fine.
Hey, let me tell you something. I heard from a little birdie that Maurice, I know he was doing this before. He went to see his pal Zach Miller, who's in a bad way with his knee.
Yeah, he
You saw
was.
that injury. A birdie told me that you spent 30 hours with him.
I did.
Wow.
I mean, that's, sitting
And
in
We were just he was going in and out. And
I
was
know,
chopping
but that's
up.
not even somebody infirmed like that. That's not an easy trip to
Yeah.
make, and good
No,
for
we
you,
were
Maurice.
good.
You're a nice fella.
Oh,
I just want people to be nice to each other.
you get the nice guy award right now.
Thank you. I hope that's a Shecky.
Oh, I wonder if that is a new Shecky award.
Should be.
Nicest guy. Nicest person we know.
Nicest.
Emma VP, who's in the running for that. Nicest person or
It
at
should be
on
called
the
the
DDFP.
MJD award.
I think MJD's the front runner. I don't know who else.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of nice people.
I haven't won.
What
a
about
Shecky.
the
Yeah.
professor? You don't think JD is nice?
No.
Oh, behind the glass
Yeah.
case. Sure.
Yeah, you don't think
I've-
JD's nice?
I've seen JD yell at people before.
Ooh, I haven't seen that. I'd like to
Really?
watch that scene.
I'm just saying.
Ooh, don't sit in front of Maurice on a plane, JD. It might get sideways quick. All right, let's do a question here. This one comes from Scott Meehan on Twitter. What are the best and worst movie theater snacks? I feel like we've tackled this one in the past, but maybe we can revisit it here. The Wolf, I'll start with you as a frequent flyer.
So I love snow caps for sure.
I saw
go.
you post that.
Yeah. What? No, you're not into.
Why I
snow
said,
caps?
I don't know
snow
why I
cap.
said it's a frequent flyer.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm flying to the movies a lot.
But
Yeah.
anyhow.
I love
Snow
snow caps and Sour Patch Kids and popcorn. Like that's
Sour Patch Kids. Was
Those are my
always
three.
the go-to.
My ex-girlfriend would do a thing. And she was right about this. She actually was a trailblazer in the field. She would get snow caps and popcorn, and she said you put them in there.
Yes.
And I said I don't know about, but it was divine
It's
because
so
it's the
good.
sweet and the salty. It was delicious.
Yeah.
If I was gonna do it, when I used to go to the movies all the time, now I don't have time to do anything. But
I'm with you. People always say, "Hey, what'd you think of?" I just saw Get Out the other day, and people said, "What? That came out a year ago." And I said, "Well,
I have to wait.
I see
Yeah.
animated movies."
yeah, I have to wait. Exactly. Well, for me, it was the mix of nachos,
Uh-huh.
a Slurpee, and Sour Patch Kids. I mean, that took me by the time
Slurpees. Whoa.
Slurpees. Are you kidding? Blah.
Yes, blah. I like all food, as you can plainly see, but I mean, I don't like. I just knocked my paper over.
Here.
That's how angry
what
I got,
flavor
Maurice.
Slurpee?
Cherry. Red. We call it red, but it's
Yeah.
the
Cherry Slurpee,
cherry.
Cherry and then sometimes
nachos,
I
and
mix it with
sour.
Coke.
Too much.
No, because what you
Too
do
much
is,
flavor.
What you do is you do the nachos and the Slurpee, and then once you get done with the nachos, as the movie, you're in the second half of the movie now.
Yep.
You're just like, oh, I'm gonna treat myself a little bit. The movie's getting better. I'm treating myself. You can Sour Patch Kids. You're good to go. Or you could be like my
Hey,
youngest
a
son.
nice bowl of nachos but the key is, what's the key with a nice bowl of nachos? Gotta have those jalapenos.
See, I don't do
Oh.
jalapenos. I don't like
Oh,
the
they
sweat.
makes them
So
sing.
I knew you were gonna
good.
say that. My youngest son, is like we literally had to ban him from candy 2 weeks ago.
This is the kid that
That
kicks
was kicking.
the seat.
He
Yeah.
kicks seats. Yeah.
Okay. Shocking.
Yeah, his name is Madden, and he's
Uh-huh.
a seat kicker, and he loves candy, preferably Skittles. And so for Halloween, he got to collect all the candy, but didn't get to eat it because we put him on like candy for a year. Like he can't have any candy because that's all he wants to eat. He would go to the movie theaters, literally, and like grab bags of Skittles and just sit there and do this
Oh my God.
for hours. I was like, dude, your teeth are gonna fall out of your mouth, which they already have. I literally had to stop him. Like he's
gonna get
like,
sick.
no, he's okay with that. He's like, oh, my stomach hurts, but it was okay because the Skittles were that good.
I mean, I respect that though.
No, I don't.
What is Maurice the worst of all candies? Movie theater or
Licorice.
otherwise?
I'm not.
That's
licorice is
right.
horrible.
Maurice got
Really?
it
I
100%.
don't like red vines or black. I don't like
Red vines are terrible, but
What
even
about
worse,
Twizzlers?
I
No,
don't care what
it's
brand
all the
we're
same.
talking about.
Twizzlers are so different than whatever those Vine things
No, it's the
are.
exact same thing.
If I have to eat a licorice, give me the skinny, the like the
Twizzlers.
shoestring.
That's Twizzlers.
No, not the
No, the
twist-
pull and peel.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
the skinny
That's
one.
what
It's
Twizzlers
like
are. You pull them off.
I don't like any of it. It's
I
all bad.
love pull and peel.
But even worse than that is black licorice. That's
What?
the worst of all candy.
That's nasty.
Black. Peeps. Peeps
Well,
are also
yeah.
terrible.
I don't know what that is.
Peeps. Beep.
I'm not.
Oh, we talked about Peeps
last
Yeah,
week,
they're the
yeah.
marshmallow thing with the
Easter candy.
big
Gross.
sugar on. They're gross.
I don't like when people like worst movie snack, not necessarily candy, but I don't like when people bring in like big like Italian hoagies or like things that really stink up the place because then I feel like
Well,
that's all I'm
Italian
smelling the
hoagies,
whole
what
time.
is that?
Like or a sub or whatever, like
let
an
me-
Italian sub.
So let me ask you, was I the only guy as a kid, and I know I'm probably snitching on myself, but like we used to go to, because the snacks cost so much at the movie theater, we used to go to like the gas station and buy the snacks and then kind of like sneak them in.
Oh yeah.
This is your outlaw
No, we
move?
did that too.
Okay, I just want to
Yeah.
make sure I wasn't the only one doing that.
Like of all the stuff,
I'm
that's the
I'm
one that worries you. I don't know. I hope nobody's coming to. Is there a statute of
We-
limitations on sneaking? Because I did that. That was like 15, 20 years ago. So
I just want to make
I hope-
sure. I don't know.
So when I
Well-
played Little League, there was like the little stand, at all the Little League games that would give out all the candy and the hot dogs and everything else. So my friend and I would go and we would just sit at the field when there weren't games, and I guess her dad worked for the city or something, so he gave us the keys to like we could sit in there and announce like fake play-by-play and stuff like that. And so we would just sit there. But one day we found these keys on the ground and we were like, what do these go to? So we were like, I wonder if they go to like the snack hut. And they worked, and nobody was there. And we went in and raided the entire snack hut and then went back to like the booth and just sat in there and called a game and ate. And it was probably one of my favorite days from growing
and
up
it
ever.
probably inspired you to the career that you now have.
Maybe.
Yeah, it could have been.
I will say, the Wolf. That is among all the things that I can that are inside my brain right now. I can't think of a better example of something that it's okay when you do it, but it's awful when other people do it. Is bringing a stinky hoagie onto an airplane.
Ew, or like tuna fish.
Oh my! What?
If I do
I-
it too bad, I'll eat it quick. Don't worry about it. But if you open that when the guy
Ew.
next to me on the plane,
Ew.
when he starts opening up his bag and is like, it's shawarma. What are you doing,
Ew,
man?
and it'll be like 3 hours into the flight, and I'm like, that thing's been sitting in your bag. It's so gross.
Asterisk, if Dameshek's doing it, it's
It's okay.
A-okay.
I'll tell you this. My grandma does that all the time. And, bless her heart, because if anyone were to say something to her, in 10,000 feet, however high we
Elderly
are,
woman, of
we're
course.
going to
Right.
get crazy. But she likes to wait to the last second. Like we went to Atlanta because my sister just passed the bar and we were coming back. And my family, they were like, hey, you're traveling with Grammy, so like this is what you have to do. And I was like, all right, cool, I got it. So we get to the airport 2 hours early, or 3 hours because it takes a little time to walk. And we're at our gate. We probably have 2 hours to go. And me and her are sitting at the gate, literally for 2 hours. As soon as they say it's time to board, she goes, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. I was like, all right, like it's all good. We got the early pass, so, go ahead, do your thing. It takes like 15, 20 minutes. She comes back. Oh, I'm hungry now. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there like, Grammy, like, but we got to get on this plane. Like, oh, it's okay. So she goes and gets like food or whatever, and she gets it. I'm like, you gonna eat your food? Oh, no, I'm gonna wait. I'm not hungry anymore.
No way.
Yes. And then waits until we get probably 2 hours in the air coming from Atlanta to California. Just open her bag up and start eating her food. And I could see people cringing.
I'd like to say, oh, it's an elderly woman.
I know people.
Right.
There, and I'm just shaking my head like, oh, I got a great story to tell. But no one said anything to her, which was nice.
I love that you and me both have Grammys.
Oh, yeah, I got
Aw.
a Grammy, yeah.
Yeah. Papa, Grammy, and Poppy.
Yeah, I got Papa and Grammy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cute.
Do we want to try to get one more question in here? Want to do it there?
let's go.
Yeah.
I picked them up in fantasy this week. I had the worst fantasy matchup in history. I'm just going to cut to the chase and say I lost 60-58. The worst. I mean,
Whoa.
pathetic.
Wow.
10-team league.
Oh.
Cousin Sal and I had a battle for not the ages, and he bested me on Matt Stafford's effort. Not, though, I can't blame the would-be Hall of Famer. If he had gone to a different NFL franchise, he might be one. At least that's what his old college teammate Maurice Jones-Drew says about a guy named Mercedes. He resides in Jacksonville. What's your question today, Mercedes?
Hey Mo, what's your favorite pastime besides eating?
I don't, I'm vegan now, so it's not really eating anymore.
So besides eating, then.
Right.
Besides eating. You know what's crazy? I'm glad that question came because Zach Miller said the same thing when I told him. I was like, I'm more travel, more versed now. I know there's so many more things. We were talking about fracking in North Dakota or South Dakota, wherever they're doing that up there, and we're talking. He's like,
that sounds tasty.
He's like, dude, you have time to do that? I go, listen, when you don't play football anymore, you have a full 24 hours to do what you want. So I've been reading a lot of books. That's been a lot of my.
Is that true?
Really?
I stopped playing video games. I just read a ton of books now.
Are you reading a book right now?
Or
what was the last book you read?
The last book I read was Malcolm Gladwell's. I'm trying to think of the name.
I know it. That his most recent.
Yeah, the most recent one. It's like How to Deal with Bosses, but it's called David and Goliath.
Oh.
It shows you the positive and negative about a big business. Let's just throw out a name like Sony, right? They have so much going on, it's hard for someone to kind of move up and get to the top guy. But then also the good things and negative things about small businesses. So that was huge.
Interesting.
Wow.
So you're a book. But you read the actual physical book.
Yeah,
you're not listening.
No, I'm a reader because I like to take notes, jot down.
Really?
Oh yeah, I love doing that.
Really?
Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna end up using it eventually. I started a gym, so I had to learn how to be a decent owner, boss, manager type thing. Work with people. That was good. And then I read Snowball was the one before that one. That was a big book though.
Snowball.
Warren Buffett's book.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Really?
How fascinating. Maurice has turned into a book reader, and Ike is now he's a National Geographic guy through and through. He can tell you all facts about the beasts.
Really?
When you retire, you really find out who you really are. What you're real, because you have so much more time.
I hope I can retire in the next couple of years.
Oh yeah, dude, you're gonna be like, wow.
Oh, I'm gonna thrive when
Yeah,
I'm
hobbies.
be an active senior.
A life of luxury.
What's your answer to that one, the Wolf?
I mean, I don't have time to have a hobby. I like to eat. I like to sleep. I guess drinking beer, would that be a hobby?
Yeah, sure.
Drinking beer, just eating, drinking, and sleeping are probably my hobbies, the things I need to do to live.
Maurice is filling his brain with information.
Yeah.
You're
feeding
drinking.
my
I'm
intelligence.
drinking. Yeah, exactly.
You also read though.
I read.
You read the research book all the time.
I read the research
that counts.
packets. Yes.
Yeah, you dive into those head
read.
first. You're better than me because I think that'd put me to sleep. But you,
Sort of.
Hobby of
sort
yours
of does.
is wearing zippers on your shoulders.
Zippers.
For
I like
no
plants.
apparent reason.
That's the.
that's right. You do.
Yeah,
like
I
plants.
really
green
like plants.
thumb.
Yeah. So my house is like a jungle.
Is that
It's just
true?
covered in plants. Yeah.
What kind of plants?
Everything. I have palm trees. I have succulents. I have all sorts of things.
You have what's the plant that eats things? The
Venus flytrap.
Oh yeah, get one of those. I've never heard
Those
of
are
anybody
kinda-
who actually has.
They
such a
kind of
thing.
freak me out.
They catch all the flies though.
Is that true about palm trees that they are not indigenous to Southern California? I've heard that on more than one occasion. That's not true?
No, they're not.
People have told me that they were imported from Hawaii and beyond.
Yeah.
Which seems crazy to me because if you walk around Southern California, all you see are palm trees. It's amazing. At what point was that move made? what civic leader said, "Hey, let's line our streets with palm trees." It'll set a mood.
Because you're trying to make
I know, but it's just interesting.
Destination.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty, but
Read a book about that, Maurice, and then tell
Okay.
the Wolf, and then she can use that as she uses her green.
Perfect.
I'm looking for a new book though. I am looking. So if anyone knows, I may put that.
I love it. Let's get Maurice a book
book
idea.
club.
Drop
you
us
need
a line.
you need to start a book club.
I should start a book.
I'll do a book club with you.
Yeah, why
Let's
not?
do it. We'll do our book club reviews here on the show.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Hashtag DDFP. Emma VP, do you have a novel you'd like us or a bio, whatever?
Nope, but I'll research one and I'll join the book club too.
All right. And coming up next week, maybe, Emma VP, we're going to have another origin story, not unlike the one we heard of the Wolf and Gonzo. Go dig that one up.
Yep.
Who's the next one you're tackling?
I have one for Matt Money Smith, but I need to think about it for MJD for
Okay.
sure. I want
I'd
to have
like
one
to
for
hear
you.
the
You need to
origin
do one
story
for
Yeah.
me. I'm solid.
of Maurice.
No, they're so good.
I'm solid.
This is always good, thanks to the participation of the Wolf, Colleen Wolfe, star, if there ever was one, on NFL media. Watcher. Good morning football.
Thank
She
you.
hangs out with Ike. And who else? Michael Robinson, Mike Garafolo,
Yep.
the usual.
Steve
That's
Smith.
the crew. MJD was on last week. That was fun.
I know. I heard you, Ike, Maurice.
Steve White.
Sounds like a great time.
See, you're gonna cry. That's actually all I need to do to make you cry.
Yeah.
That's
Glad it went
easy.
well.
That's how I know I can get him.
Yeah.
You had a fun time. So, yes, check her out. Power rankings. I don't know what else even to say.
That's
she's
it.
on
Yeah,
a,
you-
she's
Oh,
on a
she's
ton of
going to
stuff.
cheat on us here after this, too.
Yeah.
That's yeah, you do that.
It's an
other stuff.
open pod relationship
No,
I
it's
have.
Nah, hey, I don't know about that. Your decision making's in question with that.
Oh,
but
God.
you do you. And then Maurice Jones-Drew, of course, listen to him on the radio. Matter of fact, you'll hear him on Inside the NFL sometimes, calling the Rams plays. I suspect we'll hear a lot of your voice this week with 51 points. on the
51
Giants.
points.
So awesome.
Also, players only on Friday. Make sure you check out Maurice on that one. That's great stuff. Bottom line, Maurice Jones-Drew, Colleen Wolfe. Can't do any better here. I could say it's a thin slice of, but I'm not going to because I felt surprised and a little ambushed by that music there. Now, if you would, Emma VP, now I'm ready. Now you can play the music
Okay.
for Maurice Jones-Drew and Colleen Wolfe, along with Ike Taylor. Be sure you dig up Ike and my X and O breakdown of the Los Angeles Rams
Ooh,
offense.
I heard
Great
about
stuff
that.
from Ike. It really is. It is great. Shek reports out there. A whole bunch of other Huey and applesauce. Watch Pick'em on the weekend. Till then, it's a thin slice of heaven.